What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to the video. Today, I'll be doing another NASCAR silly season update where I'll recap everything that's happened so far in the 2024 to 2025 NASCAR silly season. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. Silly season would start off in early portion of the year as Andretti Global teased that they would be joining NASCAR. About a month or so ago, Andretti put out a little bit of a teaser video indicating they were interested in joining NASCAR. While they still have ambitions to go to Formula One, it's rumored that Andretti could potentially find a way to work with Spire Motorsports starting in the 2025 or even the 2026 silly season or the season. Then it was reported back in early May that Matt DiBenedetto was looking to return to Viking Motorsports full-time in 2025. He's had some really solid starts to the Viking Motorsports organization in 2024 and would like to continue working with this organization in the 2025 Xfinity season. Then reports began to come out in early May that JTG Daugherty Racing would basically be losing their ownership as Kroger was expected to be leaving JTG Daugherty Racing at the end of this year. It's heavily rumored and implied that they're going to be headed over to RFK Racing, originally having reported they were going to go to Joe Gibbs Racing, but it sounds like they're going to be headed over to RFK Racing starting in 2025. Now it's still expected that JT Daugherty Racing will stick around, but the ownership will be changing going into 2025. Then it was confirmed a couple days after his reports that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has signed a 3-year contract extension with JTG Daugherty Racing to continue driving a number 47 car. Stenhouse has struggled so far in 2024, but he's looking to bounce back and run much better and will stick around with JTG Daugherty Racing for sure in 2025 with the same organization. Then it was confirmed once again in early May that Michael McDowell will be leaving Front Row at the end of this year to join Spire Motorsports full-time in 2025 in the number 71 car. It'll be a multi-year deal with the organization, and Travis Peterson is going to be the crew chief who's been working Michael McDowell over the course of the last few years and last couple of seasons in the Cup Series. Then it was confirmed after Darlington that Chris Buescher has signed a multi-year contract extension with RFK Racing at the end of last year. Chris Buescher's had a lot of solid success while he did not make the playoffs this year. In 2024, he'll be looking to bounce back in the 2025 season. Then throughout the year, there's been a lot of rumors and speculation surrounding Junior Motorsports. They've been looking to go Cup Series racing in the past, but Dale Jr. said most likely it's not going to happen in 2025 as they're going to need a charter. And while the charter agreement has been announced currently at the moment, it's still unlikely at this particular moment point that JRM Junior Motorsports moves up the Cup unless they can find a way to bring some investors in like the Steinbrenners who've shown interest in coming to NASCAR. Then it was confirmed when Carl Edwards got announced in the Hall of Fame that Carl Edwards was not planning to return to NASCAR to drive. They basically said that he would need to be very committed to come back and race in the sport. However, he has said he's interested in maybe getting the booth, doing some TV work. He said he could go to Fox, go to NBC, go to TNT, go to Prime, go any of these networks because he said he really liked being in the booth last year during the throwback weekend. But Carl Edwards at this moment in point does not plan to return to get behind the wheel. I think a lot of us would love for him to come back. Same with a driver like Kurt Busch, but Carl's not expected to return in the near future. Then early this year, it was reported that Bubba Wallace was really close to signing an extension with 2311 Racing. However, recently, with 2311 Racing not signing the charter agreement, Bubba Wallace's future is a little bit uncertain currently at the moment. Now, most likely, Bubba Wallace is going to return to 2311 Racing, but if 2311 does not sign the charter agreement, Bubba Wallace's future could be a little bit uncertain. Same with Tyler Reddick's a little bit because they could be going down to one car if they don't sign the charter deal. But very likely, Bubba is going to return, but still a little uncertain at this particular moment. One driver that is confirmed, however, is Austin Dillon. Back in early June, it was reported that Austin Dillon has signed a multi-year contract extension with Richard Childress Racing. He has 2 more years with RCR. He'll be there this year, next year, in 2026, meaning 2026 could be the final year for Austin Dillon in the NASCAR Cup Series before eventually going into an executive role with RCR starting around the 2027 season. Then it was confirmed in early June that Hos Racing would be officially shutting down at the end of 2024. All 4 drivers, while most of them are currently signed at the moment for next year, after a lot of success with 70 NASCAR Cup Series wins, their most recent win coming is under 500, they will not be around in 2025 going forward. One team that's expected to pick up a charter from them is 2311 Racing. They'll be looking to expand in 2025 and buy an SHR charter. However, they did not sign the charter agreement very recently, so it's unknown if they're still going to get that third charter. If they do get a third charter, we'll talk about the driver who could end up there in just a second, but they're expected to potentially expand in 2025. One team that we know has acquired a third charter is Row Motorsports. They've acquired a charter from Hos Racing for around $20 million, and they will be a 3-car team in 2025, though they're one of the teams also that has not signed the charter agreement. Speaking of Front Row, Todd Gillan had also signed a multi-year contract extension with Row Motorsports. While the number is to be announced at this point, more than likely Todd Gillan will once again be back behind the wheel of the number 38 car starting in 2025. Speaking of 2311 Racing as well, Riley Herbst is expected to potentially join 2311 Racing in 2025. However, like I mentioned, with the charter negotiations and a charter agreement, it's still unknown at this point. But more than likely, if 2311 Racing does agree to sign the agreement, they will be a 3-car team, and Riley Herbst likely will get the third seat starting in 2025. Then it was confirmed during Iowa week that Marri Jr. would be retiring from full-time racing at the end of this year. However, he could be running part-time with 2311 Racing in 2025, and he's also expected to run the 2025 Daytona 500. Make select starts this upcoming season with Tricon Garage and Trucks, and also Joe Gibbs in the Xfinity Series, and his crew chief is going to be Cole Pearn. He'll be likely driving for 2311 Racing in that event. Then during the weekend at Iowa, Kyle Busch also said he was very interested in going back to other teams and organizations. However, he is likely returning to Richard Childress Racing in 2025. There's been some weird reports going on about him going over to 2311 Racing, but more than likely going into the 2025 season, Kyle Busch will be sticking around as RCR has performed a lot better in recent months. Kyle Busch will likely be back at RCR in the 2025 season. Then it was confirmed in late June, early July that Josh Berry would be joining the Wood brothers starting in 2025, driving a number 21 car. While the crew chief has not been announced at this time who the crew chief will be, Josh Berry will likely have a new crew chief from the Penske Group starting in the 2025 calendar year. That means that Harrison Burton is out of the Wood brothers currently at the moment. Now, he stated recently that he does have some cup opportunities going into the 2025 season, but he could also head back down to Xfinity to drive for a team like AM Racing, or could end up at Tricon Garage potentially in the Truck Series going into 2025. They'll be looking to make this move going forward, and we'll see Harrison Burton looking to find a new ride for next season. Then it was announced in the middle of July that Hos Factory team will be retaining one of the Suarez Racing charters. They'll have 1 Cup Series team and 2 Xfinity Series teams in the 2025 season. Joe Kuster is going to manage the operations, and they will have an RFK Racing Alliance going into the 2025 season. We'll talk about the driver of their number in just a little bit. Speaking of drivers moving off from Suarez Racing, it was officially confirmed after the New Hampshire weekend that Chase Brisco would be officially driving the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing in 2025. James Small is going to be the crew chief. Bassler Shops is going to be the majority sponsor. It's unknown if Mahindra is going over there for 2025, but Chase Brisco will be back at JGR or headed to Joe Gibbs Racing in the 2025 Cup Series season. One driver that is still sticking around with Joe Gibbs Racing also is Eric Almirola. There was a rumor after a fight had taken place in a competition meeting that Eric Almirola might have been fired from Joe Gibbs Racing, but he's made some select starts recently and will be running this weekend at Watkins Glen in the Xfinity Series. Eric Almirola is not going anywhere. He'll stick around with Joe Gibbs Racing for the near future and might come back in 2025. Then it was shockingly confirmed in July that Ronnie Kroes would be joining Spire Motorsports in 2025, the crew chief for the number 7 car. Ronnie Kroes will leave Suarez Racing. He'll be going over there to help grow Spire Motorsports as an organization and will probably be a major asset to the organization going forward in 2025. And it's also a multi-year deal. Then it was confirmed in late July that Noah Gragson will be officially joining Row Motorsports in 2025 on a multi-year deal. While it's not confirmed at this point what number he's going to be driving, some is speculating he could be driving the number 34 car for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season with that organization. Then it was confirmed in July that Trackhouse Racing has sold a minority stake to the Avenue Sports Fund Group. This group had been owned by the former owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. Basically, it's a lot of money coming into play, and that money will be used to try to grow Trackhouse Racing once again and try to build up their organization going forward. Then it was reported not too long ago that Carson Quaffle is hoping to run more races in 2025. And rumors are beginning that Carson Quaffle could also be full-time in NASCAR Xfinity competition for JRM next year. Maybe in the number 9 car, as we know someone will not be back with this team next year, who we'll talk about here in just a short little bit, but Carson could be back in Xfinity part-time. Then it was confirmed at the Indianapolis weekend for the Breakout 400 that Cole Kuster would officially be joining the Hos Factory team in the Cup Series full-time in 2025 in the number 41 car. Aaron Kramer, who was the former RFK engineer for Chris Buescher, will be the crew chief for the 41 car next year. It'll be the first time that Cole Kuster has been back full-time in the NASCAR Cup Series. He will be dropping the 41 car once again in 2025. Then it was confirmed during the break that Cory Joy would not be returning to Spire Motorsports, shockingly, in 2025. It is expected that he could be either headed to Rickwer Racing, and it sounds like Rickwer Racing is most likely destination, but there have been rumors that McAnally Hogeman Racing could be the destination as well. He will likely either be in the NASCAR Cup Series in the 51 car potentially, or could be working with the 19 truck next year in the 2025 season. Then during the break, there were some wild reports happening that Pitbull would be leaving Trackhouse Racing as an investor. Well, Justin Marks confirmed that Pitbull will not be leaving Trackhouse Racing and will be sticking around going forward. He'll bring more assets, he'll still play a major part of the group, and will be sticking around with the Trackhouse Racing group for the long-term and foreseeable future. Then it was confirmed in the middle of August that Connor Zillich will be joining Junior Motorsports full-time in 2025 in the number 88 car. Trackhouse will have a major role in that. Connor Zillich, very talented race car driver, been really high on him over the last few years. I think he's going to be a major asset and role in helping Junior Motorsports grow, and is one of the best young talents we've seen in recent seasons. Then it was confirmed about a month and a half ago that Daniel Suarez would officially be returning to Trackhouse Racing in 2025 to continue driving the 99 car. What's shocking is it's only a one-year deal for Daniel Suarez. So if Daniel Suarez ends up struggling and Connor Zillich steps up to the plate and runs great, Daniel Suarez may be replaced at the end of 2025. One driver that could be headed over to Joe Gibbs Racing in the NASCAR Xfinity Series is Taylor Gray. Taylor Gray is rumored to move up to the 19 car full-time for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Taylor also has funding and sponsorship with him, with the Grays helping him out. He will likely moving up to JGR in the NASCAR Xfinity Series full-time in 2025 for the team. Another driver likely moving up to Xfinity is William Sawalich. With him making his Xfinity debut at Homestead about a month from now, he's expected to move up to Joe Gibbs Racing in Xfinity full-time to drive the number 18 car. William has a lot of talent. He's been pretty good in Xfinity the last few years, or Xfinity, the ARCA Series the last couple of years. He'll move up for sure in 2025. This means most likely that Chandler Smith will likely be out of Joe Gibbs Racing at the end of this year. There have been rumors about him maybe going to Front Row Motorsports or going to another team and organization. I have a little theory maybe RFK could be that team he goes to. He could be leaving to go to Cup Series Racing, but his options are very limited as those rides are filling up really quickly. He may just be out of luck, unfortunately, finding a ride for 2025. Then it was confirmed about a month ago that Eric Jones has signed a multi-year contract extension with Legacy Motor Club through the 2026 or 2027 season. Eric Jones has a lot of funding with him. A lot of teams really like him, and Legacy really likes him. And while he struggled, he has a lot of success with the team and will be back with the organization for sure once again in 2025. Then it was announced also about a month ago that AJ Allmendinger will be returning to the Cup Series in 2025, driving number 16 car for Kaulig Racing. He'll be back in his 16 car where he should have been this year. He's performing really solid in Xfinity, and I think he'll do a much better job once again in the Cup Series and will be contending for a playoff spot in 2025. Then a rumors reports, and it's expected that RFK Racing will likely be expanding in 2025 to a 3-car organization and Cup. Kroger is expected to head over to RFK Racing next year, and Ryan Preece is expected to be the driver of this car. Jordan Bianchi reported about a week or so ago they're very close to announcing this, and it sounds like really, really soon, with the charter agreement being signed and RFK signing that agreement, we're going to see Ryan Preece go over to this RFK organization in 2025. Then it was confirmed about 3 to 4 weeks ago that Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer will be joining the Hos Factory team in 2025. Sheldon Creed is going to drive the 00, and Sam Mayer is going to drive the 41 car next season. Both drivers will stick around in Xfinity. We know Sam Mayer wants to go Cup racing in the future, but they will be part of the Hos Factory team in 2025. This means that Hailie Deegan's future is currently uncertain at the moment. There have been rumors of her potentially going to IndyCar next year, going to Indy Lights to Andretti perhaps. She's been doing some stuff in Trans Am very recently, but she could also come back to NASCAR, but her options are very, very limited. It would not surprise or shock if Hailie Deegan is completely out of NASCAR going forward and doesn't have a ride in the near future, but she currently is still looking for a ride and looking for somewhere to go in 2025. Then it was announced about 2.5 weeks ago that Daniel Dye will be joining Kaulig Racing full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2025, driving the number 10 car. Daniel Dye's sponsorship and funding has been solid in the Truck Series in recent years, and I think Daniel Dye will do a pretty good job with Kaulig Racing next season with the number 10 team and the number 10 organization. It was also confirmed during that same press conference that Josh Williams would also be returning to Kaulig Racing in 2025, driving the 11 car. He had a multi-year contract with the team. There were rumors about him leaving the organization, but he will once again for sure stick around with Kaulig Racing in 2025. Then it was confirmed around that time that Sammy Smith would likely be returning to Junior Motorsports in 2025 in the number 8 car. Sammy Smith brings funding and sponsorship, and while he struggled this year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. I think he will for sure stick around with JRM for at least the next couple of years. It's also expected that Justin Allgaier will also be returning to Junior Motorsports in 2025. Justin Allgaier has been with the team since 2016, so it makes a lot of sense. Brandt's a big sponsor and ambassador for their group. He'll stick around with the organization once again for sure in 2025. Then it was officially confirmed that Zan Smith would not be returning to Trackhouse Racing in 2025. He is expected still to go to Front Row Motorsports. There have been some rumors about him not going to Front Row, but it sounds more than less and more than likely that Zan Smith will head back over to Ford and go back over to Front Row, as he's currently the lead candidate and the lead favorite driver to go over to Front Row Motorsports for the 2025 NASCAR Cup season. He'll be likely headed there. Then there began to be some reports about Todd Gillan potentially headed over to Kaulig Racing in 2025. And it sounds more than likely that Daniel Hemrick is going to be out of Kaulig Racing altogether. I think Todd Gillan most likely will be in the number 31 car for Kaulig Racing full-time. He's had a working relationship with them the last year or so, almost went full-time with the team in 2024. He is expected to potentially head over to Kaulig Racing next season. Then it was confirmed during Daytona week that Shane Van Gisbergen will be joining the Cup Series full-time in 2025, driving a number 88 car for Trackhouse Racing. Trackhouse has acquired a charter from Hos Racing going into this season, and he'll be looking to have a really strong year, win a couple races in the NASCAR Cup Series, as he's had a solid year in Xfinity. He'll be moving up to the Cup Series full-time once again in 2025. Then there began to be a lot of reports about Justin Haley's future. It sounds like Justin Haley more than likely will be headed over to Spire Motorsports full-time in 2025 to drive the number 7 car. With Cory Joy not going to be back with team and expected also to maybe head over to Rick Ware in the Cup Series, it sounds like Justin Haley is likely going to have a ride with the Spire Motorsports organization and group. He had been linked to Hendrick Motorsports as well, but it sounds like he's going to be going to Spire in 2025. Then it was confirmed about a week ago that Christian Eckes will be joining Kaulig Racing full-time in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2025, driving a number 16 car. He'll be replacing AJ Allmendinger. He will not have any Cup starts planned for 2025 and will focus fully on the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Christian has a lot of talent. He's had a really strong year in the Truck Series. He'll move up to the Xfinity Series and will be looking to grow in the 2025 NASCAR Xfinity Series season. Then there began reports about a week ago that Pat O'Ward was interested in running in NASCAR. It sounds like he's very interested in maybe running the Daytona 500. We know Aaron McLaren's interested in going to Daytona, and we also do know for the fact that they're interested in doing some other stuff as well in the future. Pat O'Ward also wants to run the NASCAR Mexico race next year in Mexico City. He could run the Xfinity Series race potentially in 2025. Then it was confirmed about a week ago that Brandon Jones will be returning to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2025, most likely in the number 20 or the 19 car. He had left Joe Gibbs Racing for a couple years to join Junior Motorsports. It's not really worked out for him there. He'll likely have a much better stint over at Joe Gibbs Racing once again in 2025. It's also expected that Roger Crouf will be likely returning to the Truck Series next season. It was confirmed about a week ago this likely is going to happen. Roger Crouf hasn't really solid in the Truck Series in recent years. I do think Roger's going to do pretty good, and I think he will be a championship contender most likely in 2025. Then it was confirmed earlier this week that Kyle Larson will once again run the 2025 Indianapolis 500 with Arrow McLaren. They're going to put priority on the Coke 600, unlike this past year. Even if Larson is leading, they said they're going to put priority on the Coke 600. So it sounds like Kyle Larson will once again be running the Indy 500. It's confirmed he'll be driving a 17 in 2025. Then Rick Hendrick finally confirmed after rumors and speculation that Alex Bowman will be officially returned to Hendrick Motorsports in 2025 in the number 48 car. There have been some wild rumors going around that Alex Bowman would not be back with the team, but I do think, or going to 7, but it will be official that Alex Bowman is once again back with Hendrick Motorsports in 2025 in the number 48 car once again for next season. Then it was confirmed earlier today that Parker Kligerman will not be returning to Big Machine Racing in 2025 and will be retiring from full-time racing at the end of this season. Congrats to Parker on a really, really great career. It's a shame he's retiring from full-time racing, but again, it's prerogative. If he wants to do it, it is what it is. Congrats to Parker Kligerman on a really solid and great career in NASCAR. And speaking of the driver replacing him, it sounds like Nick Sanchez is likely going to be headed over to Big Machine Racing in 2025 in Xfinity. He drove for them back in 2022 before they went full-time. I think Nick's a really solid driver, has gotten the best out of equipment in the past in trucks, and I think Rev Racing could have something to do with this. Even though Big Machine fully funds it, he could be headed over to this team in 2025. So, that is going to be it for the NASCAR silly season update. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Let's get some more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. What are your thoughts about today's NASCAR silly season update? Let me know it in the comments below. Later today on the channel, of a NASCAR news video discussing news over the course of the last couple days. If there's any major news later today, we'll discuss here live on the channel. Tomorrow, we're going to have a lot of content surrounding SVG potentially and also the Watkins Glen review. And we'll also have the Cup Watkins Glen review on Sunday as well. And then most likely on Monday, we're going to have another NASCAR news video dropping. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.